Am I the asshole for not buying my daughter's boyfriend a present? My daughter, 19, has been dating a boy for 2 years. My kids also recently started using an app to list their wish list. My wife asked if I had seen my daughter's boyfriend's list as, we need to buy him something. Maybe it's just me, but growing up, my parents didn't give two craps about who I was dating. Much less, have any intention of adding them to a present list. I asked a few friends and everyone was a resounding no about this practice. My wife insists this is very normal and is calling me the asshole for not want to comply. In my opinion, a BF-GF relationship is typically a temporary one and as such, doesn't warrant adding the person to the gift list. Now, if some reason they ended getting married, well that then changes the equation. But until then, I'm a nope on this tradition being imposed on me. Edit. A little more detail is probably needed, considering all the questions. We live 12 hours apart, so we don't have the opportunity to know him better. Also, this is related to Christmas gifting. Opinions are probably going to vary on this, but leaning slight you are the asshole for flawed rationale. They've been together 2 years, so this isn't some Rondo HS interest of the moment. Not saying break the bank, but if gift giving is something you all do in the family, a small little something would likely be appreciated as a sort of basic acknowledgement. Maybe ask daughter what they think is appropriate. In my opinion, a BF-GF relationship is typically a temporary one. How did you and your wife's relationship start? Did you skip the dating phase and go straight to married? Most marriages start with the BF-GF relationship, so I don't quite understand your reasoning here. You are the asshole. He is dating your daughter and will likely be around when people are opening gifts. Just so you know, if you don't include her partner in your life, she will probably not include you in hers. If his family is more welcoming to her than you are to him, guess where they're going to spend all of their holidays? Are you willing to die on this hill to save $25-50? Back in the 80s when I was a teen, my mom often invited my best friend to go shopping with us for Christmas and would buy my bestie something as well as take us to lunch. You're complaining about a BF? Of 2 years? I'm not saying buy the kid a gaming system, but surely a $25.50 gift or gift card wouldn't break you, would it? I had a boyfriend for 5 years and for 2 of those years that I went to his family's for Christmas there was always something under the tree for me. I vote you are the asshole. How about breaking a cycle of, my parents didn't do this, so I won't do it either. My parents buy my girlfriend gifts because they do give a damn about me and the person I am dating. Maybe show your daughter that you give a crap about her and who she dates. You are the asshole because you are being your parents and rational behind it. I'd listen to your wife in this case, not your friends. Softly, you are the asshole. They have been together for a while. Get him something inexpensive showing that you thought about him. I'd do something around $25-50. If he is coming to a get-together where others are receiving gifts, then you should get him something. No one wants to be the only one not receiving a gift amongst others. Am I the asshole for telling my parents their marriage is sad and that they need to get a divorce? I, 14F, am the youngest child of my mother, who we'll call Ma, 46F, and my father, who we'll call Pa, 45M. My parents have been married for 20 years, and their relationship is anything but pretty. Ever since I was really young, my parents fought over the stupidest of things, and every single time, Pa was always the reason for their fights, since he always found a reason to be upset. Yesterday, Ma and Pa had spent the entire morning fighting and yelling about something that I don't even know since I wasn't really paying attention, but what I heard was my dad was threatening a divorce, and my mom was saying they should get one. They always say they're gonna get a divorce, but they end up not doing so. So as they were fighting and threatening each other with divorce, I had walked out of my bedroom and said that they should get the divorce because their marriage is sad and that I'm getting tired of hearing them fight over stupid stuff. My mom said I went too far insulting their marriage by calling it sad, and my dad is not talking to me because of what I said. I feel like I am in the wrong because it's not my place to tell my parents what they should and shouldn't do with their marriage, but I also feel like I'm not in the wrong because I am righteously upset since they've been fighting since I was really young. Am I the asshole? I'm so sorry. I was in a similar position. You are a person in that house. Loud fights affect you. You are not a little kid anymore, and you have every right to let them know how their fighting affects you. I wouldn't be hopeful that your opinion carries any weight with them, but you have every right to express it. Your parents are mad because you called out the truth they're avoiding. Parents who stay together, for the kids, often do more harm than good. Not the asshole. Do your best to recognize that this isn't healthy and make sure that your own future relationships don't mirror what they have going on. It's a sad cycle that's easy to get trapped in. Not the asshole in my book, but personally I'd avoid saying anything around either of those two. From your short narrative, it seems they both just live to find something to fuel their fight anger. In this respect, they may be perfect for each other. Meanwhile, use earplugs, buds. Doors, get the best education you can and in a few years, move out and create your own peaceable kingdom. I have been in a similar position. You are not the asshole. They shouldn't argue in front of kids. Wow. When the child acts like an adult and the adults throw a tantrum. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for not letting my dad's friend inside the house? I, F24, am a daughter to a divorced couple. They separated when I was 3 and since then I have always lived with my mom. I had a good relationship with my dad until I turned 14, when he started a family of his own and we rarely got to see each other. The frequent catching up became sporadic on both sides very quickly. The house where I live is my mom's house, but before the divorce it was the house where we lived as a family. My dad is really familiar with the house and the entirety of the apartment complex. One of the other person living in our complex is my dad's best friend, let's call him Paul. They know each for 30+ years and my dad always described him as a family friend. Both me and my mom never quite liked him. After my parents divorced, when my mom and I meet Paul in the communal spaces we do some polite small talks but nothing more since we simply don't enjoy his company, but it has happened a couple of times that for complex related things he came up into our house uninvited. He is someone that doesn't understand boundaries and that makes us really uncomfortable. Last time, using a maintenance excuse, he stayed for 2 hours and a half, actively asking for coffee more than once, and when he wanted something more to drink he just went straight to the fridge without asking. Trust me, I am a really welcoming person. But the way he acts and his soft entitlement really rubs me the wrong way. Back to my dad. He just got a new job that makes him drive by my house, so it became a spontaneous habit for him to come by once every week. I was really excited at first, but it became pretty apparent from the start that it was not going to be what I expected. 3 times out of the average 4 monthly visits he hangs out with Paul in my living room. Most of the time when I call to check when he will arrive, he is at Paul's and they just come at my door and stay both for a couple of hours, take a coffee or two before vanishing. Last week when I asked my dad to come watch a movie it was no different. He called me, told me that he was at Paul's and simply added, "We're coming in a minute." I just snapped. I told him that I wanted only him to come by and that I didn't want Paul in the house. He asked me why and I explained that I just didn't want Paul there. He exploded. He told me that I was extremely rude for not inviting him. He kept saying, "Since when Paul cannot come to our house?" I just responded that technically that was not his house and that if he really wanted to spend some time with Paul they could have went elsewhere. He hung up on me and never showed up. I wasn't expecting that reaction from him and I felt extremely betrayed because I thought our hanging time was more important than Paul. When later I told my mom what happened she said that I did the right thing and that my dad is known to be dismissive and extremely angry when he doesn't get what he wants. I still feel bad. Maybe I could have overlooked Paul's presence but IDK. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Your mom knows this truth about your father. He's a steamroller and will use guilt, and a false sense of entitlement, to get what he wants. Your mom needs to make it clear that Paul can't come in. Unless he has an order from management for repairs, etc. And then you want verification of that. But no letting him stay for forever. He may not have boundaries, but you and your mom can have them. Also, let the manager know that you aren't comfortable with Paul coming over, and due to previous interactions, you want a phone call in advance if he's meant to do any maintenance. Follow up. As for your dad, let him be mad. He's making his visiting you only on his terms. I'm sorry he's such a disappointment. You are a good daughter for protecting your home. Not the asshole. Paul is not my father. You are. Sometimes, I just want to spend time with my dad. That does not appear to be the same for you. If you prefer Paul's company over mine, I suggest you just see Paul from now on. And keep telling dad it is no longer his home to do with as he chooses. Not the asshole. You absolutely do not have to host creepy moocher Paul ever. And you don't even have to have an excuse for it. Learn to say, no, or, sorry, that doesn't work for me, without an excuse. If they ask why, just repeat it. But, I wanted to hang out with just you, to your dad is a perfectly valid one. I'm sorry your dad is prioritizing spending time with Paul over you. He's trying to have his cake and eat it, too, by hosting Paul at your place where he doesn't pay for groceries and utilities, too. It's very selfish of him. Your father forgets that he left both your mother and the home. He believes he is entitled to invite whoever he likes into the home that is no longer his. It seems that everything has to be on his terms or he'll throw a temper tantrum like a 5-yo. Frankly, having a relative stranger, to you, just enter your home like that is a little alarming and you should trust your gut and not let him in again. Not the asshole. Your dad is living in a dream world where he never left. And Paul is an oblivious leech. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. If you are not comfortable around someone for any reason, you should not be forced to be in that person's company. Do not allow anyone to browbeat you into accepting the company of someone that you don't like. Evidently, time with you is not more important than time with Paul. If you wind up talking to your dad about this at some point, be honest. I don't know if that's going to help with a personality type like your father's, but being honest is usually best. Am I the asshole for not going to Thanksgiving on my dad's side of the family? I, 17F, and my sister, 19F, both do not have a relationship with our dad. He was and still is extremely manipulative and narcissistic. It took both my sister and I a very long time to cut him off. He now no longer has legal custody of me. My brother, 21, and my younger sister, 10, still see him. My sister and I deliberated for a long time on if we were going to attend Thanksgiving this year on my dad's side of the family. My dad bad-mouths us all the time to his family and even our sister, saying that we hate all of them and we cut him off to hurt him. We did it for our own mental health and well-being. So we decided we should go this year to be the bigger people. We texted our grandparents to let them know we were planning on attending, and they talked to us beforehand. The conversation didn't go well. They basically told us they were not willing to have a relationship with us outside of my dad, and if we weren't willing to have a relationship with my dad and either call him or go to his house in person to talk to him, we were not welcome at Thanksgiving. They also said that last Christmas, there was visible tension between my sister and I and my dad and that it hurt them. My sister and I both let our dad hug us on Christmas, and when he asked how we were, we responded. We were trying to keep the peace around the holidays, but this was not the case for them, I guess. My sister and I were appalled at their stipulation of, no relationship with dad equals no Thanksgiving, so we decided that we both were not comfortable speaking to my dad and it would be best to not go this year. We knew there would be repercussions to this decision, especially with my brother. We spoke to my younger sister about us not going and reminded her that we love her. She mentioned some things she overheard that sealed the deal for us, but they're not relevant. Fast forward to today, my brother came to our house and asked my sister what time we were planning on being there tomorrow. She told him that we were not going because we had a conversation with them, etc., etc. He stormed out of our house saying that he wasn't going to be there on Saturday, my mom's dinner with her side of the family. My mom overheard this and she has been so upset and sad ever since. My brother often sides with my dad and believes that she's the horrible one in this situation. She has always been loving, supportive, and kind. She tries to keep the peace as much as possible, even with my brother and my dad coming after her all the time. I hate to see my mom upset. I'm starting to think I should have just sucked it up and talked to my dad and gone to keep the peace, but that really crosses my boundaries, and even thinking about my dad makes me want to puke. But I feel terrible about what this has done to my mom and her relationship with my brother. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. You did what's best for you and your sister. Your mom's upset 'cause it's a tough situation, but it's not on you. You're setting boundaries, and that's important. Not the asshole. You have to realize that even by giving in to your brother, who's been brainwashed by your dad, you're letting your father win, because he wants to cause this strife and drama. It's the reason he badmouths you and your sister to his parents and your siblings. All you and your sister can do is be there for your mom and be strong. Remember, you didn't do this. All you did was put your mental health ahead of narcissist ego. Every day that you don't buckle is another day that pisses him off, and makes those around him question his version of events. Not the asshole. You don't owe anyone your time and discomfort. It's sad that people are all trying to manipulate you, but that says way more about them and you. You do what you need to do for you. Maybe in the future you can have a better relationship with your other siblings. Only time will tell. If your grandparents are so manipulative and hateful and conditional, sadly, you are probably better off without them around, too. Family isn't only about blood. It's about love and support and joy and liking each other. Hopefully you can build your own family, and perhaps have your siblings join it later. But for now, protect your well-being. Stay away. Have a good Thanksgiving. Not the asshole. Stand your ground on this argument. You are being manipulated, by your paternal grandparents and by your older brother, into making peace with someone who you have decided is toxic to you. It's not uncommon for children to split their loyalties between divorced parents. Your older brother is going to have to realize that, in spite of that split, it's his choice whether or not to have a good relationship with you and with your sister. As long as you and she keep things cordial with him, you're on solid ground. What a horrible situation. Your paternal grandparents are the biggest asshole in this situation. Instead of diffusing the situation, they just widen the breach between family members. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Your dad's entire side of the family should be cut off. All of the delightful grandmothers I know put the grandkids ahead of their own children. Really look at your brother's actions. Why would he punish your mother for a choice you and your sister made? He's going to be as bad as your dad one day, if he isn't already.